Hey guys, what's up? It's a Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite animes. And today I'm going to be doing an anime review on Cyberpunk Edgerunners. So yeah, this is the new Netflix-backed Polish-Japanese anime Cyberpunk Edgerunners based off of the American video game Cyberpunk 2077, developed by CD Projekt Red. And a lot of people have been talking about this anime, how this is anime of the year. It is so hype. Oh my god, it is incredible. Blah, blah, blah. So, of course, I have to check it out. Now, I am not a big fan of game inspired animes and game inspired movies and TV shows because they always turn out shit. They are always terrible. So, I had my reservations when I went into this anime. But given that a lot of people are saying it's great and everything, I also had a bit of expectation going in, and I'll talk about my thoughts a little bit later. But let's drop some names first. This anime is created by Rafal Yaki and Mike Pondsmith, and it is directed by Imaishi Hiroyuki of Studio Trigger. And if you don't know what is Studio Trigger, they are an anime studio that is incredibly well known for crazy, explosive, over-the-top, epic robot, cyber, neo-modern anime shit. They're just well known for that. Um, so Studio Trigger, they either drop something absolutely amazing and balls like Kill la Kill, or they drop something kind of subpar. So you never really know what's actually going to take place. But anyways, I'm not a gamer. I don't play games all that much, so I don't know much about Cyberpunk 2077. But you know what? Fine, I'll watch this. So essentially, Cyberpunk Edgerunners is an anime about a guy called David Martinez living in the cyberpunk city called Night City. He is poor. He's a student in a school, and he's so poor that he has to use alternative methods to look for money, aka joining a gang, and that's pretty much it. Now let's talk about the OP first. Franz Ferdinand's This Fire is freaking fantastic, and it is a really crispy and refreshing opening sequence. I love the animation of the OP as well. I think it's just really fresh. It's not your average passionate rock music, passionate J-rock that a lot of anime OPs have, so I like this. The ED is just okay. It's just this kind of relaxing, moody thing. I'm not particularly huge on the animation either. The thing with this anime is that right off the bat, we have a really, really basic premise. We have a main character who is a lonely, rebellious outcast. He meets a hot girl. He joins a gang, and the rest is history. I feel like I've already seen like 10 or 11 shows or movies that sort of have this premise as well. It's sort of overused already at this point. So after episode 1, I didn't really know what to expect. I only wish that it would only get better from here. Another thing with this show is that it is only 10 episodes long. Unlike the usual 12 episode format that an anime has. And because of that, it feels kind of rushed. There are a lot of. It's not exactly a serial story, meaning that several story arcs take place in the show, but they're all really, really short, and they all don't necessarily connect with each other all that much. So because of that, it does feel kind of rushed and kind of incoherent at some points. I wish the show was longer so that we get to explore these characters a lot more, because sometimes a character would, die, and I would just be like, okay, am I supposed to feel something? And that's earlier. I mean, and later in the show when characters die, it hits hard, but there are already characters dying in the first half, but it just doesn't feel as impactful because it just feels kind of rushed. Another thing is the production design is great. Don't get me wrong, I love the color schemes, the design, they're all really good. But I feel like I've seen better cyberpunk design in other animes, like Dorohedoro. Well, Dorohedoro is less cyberpunk, more like a biopunk, steampunk, biopunk, diesel punk. But still, I've seen better production design in similarly designed animes before. Don't get me wrong, it's great here, but it's not like the best ever, like some people proclaimed it to be. A lot of people also claim this anime to be very emotionally damaging. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a stoic bitch, but I'm not that emotionally damaged after watching this anime. I finished the last two episodes like a couple hours ago actually, and it's pretty good. But I wasn't really like emotional about it or anything. What I also don't like about this anime is that it is completely laced with music in dramatic moments, in not so dramatic moments. The soundtrack is catchy, don't get me wrong. And again, this anime is based off video game, and video games always have music in the back to boost it, especially cyberpunk games. So I get it, but I'm not huge on media that really uses music so much. There is that. Another thing I want to mention about this anime is that the English subtitles are really wacky, and I know that this anime takes place in the future and people speak with a lot of slang, and there are a lot of underground criminal characters and they all speak in weird terms and slangs, but it's so unnecessarily edgy and unreal that it's actually kind of funny. And I'm not a Japanese expert, obviously, but I can sort of tell that they try to add slangs in the Japanese lines of this anime, but it's nowhere near as ridiculously slanged up as the English subtitles. But aside from that, this anime also has a lot of great things going for it. The action is really well done. Let's get the elephant out of the room here. It's really well done. It's really hype. This anime is also hyper violent. Like we have characters' heads fucking exploding and brains spattering all over the place, frigging intestines bursting out of a person's stomach or a person's belly, to be medically more precise. Is really violent, and there's also a lot of like sex and nudity. Not a lot of sex, but a lot of nudity. That's true. There are scenes where like the main character and the hot girl they're just naked completely, and it's not even because they're like horny or something. They're naked because they don't need clothes anymore. Another thing I want to say about this anime is that I like how it doesn't spend a lot of time explaining what the world is, explaining the world building and the lore and the history. Episode 1 begins and you're kind of confused. I was kind of confused, but as we see the story go along, we start to understand, oh, so Arasaka is the big bad corporation, and then we have cyberpunk gangs. They're Edgerunners, and they install like metallic robotic body parts onto them. And if they do that too much, they go insane, and that's called cyberpsychosis. But you don't really know any of this in the beginning. You just sort of figure it out as the story goes along, and I really like that. Episode 6 is pretty amazing. It's really action packed. It's full of twists and turns. It's memorable. I like that a lot. It's not the best episode ever, but I still enjoy it. And the ending is pretty emotional and epic as well. Gotta mention that. I love the character designs a lot. I think some of the character designs are freaking awesome. Like Rebecca, the small little girl who is like really deadly and freaking insane, sort of like a wild card, kind of like the Harley Quinn of this universe. Yeah, aside from that, not much else. The voice acting is great. Ken plays the main character, and I'm not familiar with his work, but he's really good. And of course, Yuki Aoi plays Lucy, the main girl of the show, and you cannot go wrong with Yuki Aoi. She's a fantastic voice actress. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think this anime is not as good as a lot of people say it is, but it still slaps pretty hard. Um, And this is definitely way better than the other Cyberpunk anime I've watched. Akudama Drive, this is definitely way better. I'll have to say that. But yeah, I'm giving Cyberpunk Edgerunners a strong 7 to a light 8 out of 10. So have you watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners from 1 to 10? I'm just rate it, like, and subscribe. One more, and thanks for watching.